Between the lines.
Yes, my Between the Liners, welcome back to the Between the Lines podcast. This is a match reaction for Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 0. Unfortunately, the first match reaction I'm doing this season for United, and it's come at a loss at New White Hart Lane Stadium. And I guess the second half especially was very disappointing, but there are some positives to take from the game as well. It's still early in the season. Don't get too carried away as Tottenham fans, and don't get too upset United fans. Let's get into the match reaction and go about it how I usually do. We'll talk about the starting lineup first. I guess most United fans probably wanted to give Sancho an opportunity in the starting lineup, especially because of the way he's been performing in pre-season, and he's looking a bit sharper in recent times. Even when he came on in the Wolves game, he looked a lot sharper, and even today, which I'm going to get into a bit later, he did look quite sharp as well when he came on. But I understood Ten Hag's methodology in picking the same team. He wanted to see how they perform after the last game where they didn't perform too great. So I think he wanted to give the same lineup an opportunity to prove themselves and show why they should be starting at this current time. Moving it on, we'll take it into the positives first. I know we've lost the game 2-0, but the first half, there were quite a few positives. I don't know what the rest of you lot think. Any United fans, get in the comments and let me know. I thought the first half overall was pretty positive. We had Spurs where we wanted to have them really. Yes, they had a bit more possession in midfield. I think we was allowing Bissouma and Sarr and Udogie to have the ball more because they weren't really creating many chances. We kept Maddison quiet. We kept Son quiet. We kept Kulusevski quiet. We kept Richarlison quiet as well. I'm talking about the first half specifically. So I think the plan did go to plan, sorry. And yeah, attacking wise, we didn't create a lot. I know in the first half Spurs hit the bar once, but that was just a good strike. Couldn't really do much about that. Other than that, they didn't really create many chances, and I felt like defensively were really solid. I feel really comfortable at the back with Onana, who was unbelievable. Some of his passes today were outrageous. That first half switch to Garnacho around the 20th minute was out of this world. And it scares me a little how confident he is. But I love it. I can tell he's going to have a massive impact on the team this season. And it's just a breath of fresh air. Obviously, big up David De Gea for his service to the club. A club legend in my eyes, regardless of what some of you lot think. But Onana, I feel like, is going to take it to a new level. Even forgetting his passing, some of his ball control and handling of the ball is perfect. When he comes out to catch a cross, even when he's under pressure, even if it's a shot, he just makes you feel so safe and reliable. Varane, obviously, Raphael Varane, Rolls Royce, defensively solid, always challenges for the ball. Wan-Bissaka, I've run out of words to say for Wan-Bissaka, and I've been complimenting him for a long time now. Even today on the ball, especially in the first half, his ball control and ball movement and use of the ball, the development of that from where he was before, like 2 years ago, to where he is now, is outstanding. The levels he's reaching now, we haven't seen from him, and it's actually a credit to him and all the work that he's done. Fair play, Wan-Bissaka, because in comparison, look at Dalot when he came on in the second half. He didn't really do much, to be honest. I wouldn't say he improved in our offence compared to Wan-Bissaka did in the first half, but obviously the whole game tide had changed, so it's difficult to pin that on Dalot. Sure, maybe the weak point in our defence at the moment, probably the easiest to get at, possibly. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys disagree. The midfield, I felt like worked really hard in the first half, especially Mason Mount. I could see he tracked back a lot more than he did in the Wolves game, and I'm guessing that's something Ten Hag drilled into him. I would have liked a lot more in possession from him, but we haven't got to see that yet from Mount yet, but hopefully that will still come. Anthony worked hard. Garnacho worked hard as well. I thought that some of Bruno was looking a lot sharper compared to the Wolves game, and a lot of his passing was more clinical and decisive. Rashford looked a lot more sharper and energetic on the ball as well. And I think that's about it for the positives, to be honest, because we'll take it onto the negative section. And the second half was abysmal. this is something we done a lot last season as well. We come out at the second half very, very slow for some reason. Sometimes in some games, I've mentioned it in my match reactions last season as well, and I don't know why this is a recurring theme, especially away from home. I don't understand. Did the first half lure them into a full sense of security? Did they think that they were in complete control? Because I know Spurs had a bit more possession, but we looked more threatening, and the game plan worked in terms of getting Anthony and Garnacho on the ball a lot. It's just they couldn't really penetrate and weren't really aggressive enough. Some of the decision making wasn't great either. But just on Garnacho, I just want to say that although his decision making isn't great yet, and he isn't as aggressive and urgent and decisive yet, he's still young and we can't have too high expectations from him. He's still learning his trade. He's just got into the team as his first team starter, so give him some time. I'm sure he'll come good. Anthony, still expecting a bit more from you. You're meant to be playing senior football for like the last 3-4 years now, and you can see he's added new facets to his game, new ways to try and beat his man, and I respect that, I appreciate that, but just a bit more, man. We need a bit more. And defensively, I like it. I like the work rate, but attacking wise, needs to create more, needs to try and shoot more. Obviously, I know he hit the bar in the I think it was that second half after we'd conceded, but I just need more. The same things we got at Sancho for the last year or two is what we're coming down to criticize Anthony on now. And we need to see more clinicalness and more efficiency on the ball and more creativity as well. Other than that, obviously, I feel like this is a problem that we've had in recent seasons. We're not as aggressive as other teams sometimes, especially obviously in the away games. We need to be winning more duels, and it can't be just left down to Casemiro on his own. I felt like the shape, Ten Hag might need to start questioning his players or his own thinking, because the shape isn't helping Casemiro. Casemiro and then Bruno and Mount on each side might not be enough, and that's why signing a player like Amrabat is crucial, because he's going to be down to do the defensive side to the utmost energy and commitment, whereas Mount and Bruno, that's not their style. An example of that is in the first half, Mount let Sarr run off once and he got a shot on target, and Onana saved it. But because he's not used to playing those defensive roles, his work rate was great and he followed most runs, but there was one run he let go and then Sarr could have scored potentially. The goal we conceded was a bit disappointing, and I don't know what Shaw was doing, because Shaw was so deep inside his box tracking no one, but his wingers all the way on the touchline. So I felt like he was way too deep, and then it forced Garnacho to come and chase back, but he was already too far coming from the wing position, probably tracking the fullback. So I felt like it wasn't really Garnacho's fault. And then the cross comes in, it's taken a deflection or something, and it's come off, or Onana saved it, or it's come off the bar or something, and then fallen to Pape Matar. And fair play to the kid, because the anticipation and the awareness and the presence of mind to follow that in and score it was pretty unstoppable. I saw Casemiro trying to track him, maybe just a bit too slow, or Sarr was more sharp and aware to the situation of the rebound. So fair play to the kid, deserved that goal as well. He worked hard all game. So I'm not really going to blame the defence for that goal. The second goal was a bit comical. Obviously, Davies mishit it and swiped at it, and this ended up going off Martinez, who tried to clear it out, come off his right foot and gone in, unfortunately. But the pass to get Davies through, the defence was just opening up a bit, and I feel like it's more on the midfield's fault, to be honest, because most of the defending today was pretty solid. You can't really pick out many times where Spurs open us up. Obviously, the last couple of minutes probably doesn't count. When the game's open, we're throwing everyone forward. But defensively, we were pretty solid. So it's just a shame, really. Spurs didn't really create any clear-cut chances, if you think about it, really, other than the shot on the bar. Other than that, Bruno, this is what we need to speak about, this, because the last 30 minutes and we're chasing a goal. Bruno Fernandes, that second half performance, or the last 30 minutes of that game, that was so poor. It's just frustrating, because you're meant to be the captain. Build your way up through the pitch. Don't try to start doing hoofball and aiming for Marcus to run in front of the goal behind the defence every single time, or do a long switch every single time. You're meant to be more patient. You're the captain. You should have more awareness, and your ability is so good. You should control it a bit. Don't panic. Build your team up. Play a few 1-2s. Build up high up the pitch, and then try creating a clear-cut chance. Hoofing it from 35, 45 yards from the goal, away from the goal, or from your own halfway line is not going to help. It's not. You might get a couple chances, but at that point, Spurs, the defence is going to be deep, so it's going to be difficult to pin it over the top and expect Marcus to do something. So I feel like there's a very immature second half performance from Bruno Fernandes, and we've come to expect more from him and expect better from him, which he's proven more recently. But when the going gets tough, can we rely on him? It's still early in the season, so I don't want to be too harsh on him, but expecting a lot more. Other than that, what? And to be honest, I don't blame him completely, because also the rest of the forward line in the second half, when you're chasing a goal, the lack of urgency was so bad. Eriksen's come onto the pitch and he's going to be creative, yeah? And I'm looking at him, he's got time in the ball. Everyone's standing still. Garnacho's standing there, or even when he come off. Sancho was doing a little bit, he's fine, he was a bit sharper. But Anthony just stood on the right. Mount stood on the right. Bruno is just stood on the right. Rashford stood up on the last line of defence. They're all on the same last line of defence with Spurs. None of them are moving. So where's Eriksen meant to pass? He's got nowhere to go. He can't run through it by himself. Just lack of movement, and just the game management is a question mark we've had over our side in the last few seasons. And I felt like some of it improved last season. But clearly in the away games, there's still massive question marks over the team's football brain and team management. Anyway, guys, let's get into the match roundup. I'm not really going to give out a man of the match for the United. If I was, it probably would have been Onana or AWB. Match roundup. It's only the second game of the season. Let's not get too negative, too pessimistic. I saw a lot of people criticising Casemiro and Rashford in the first game. Just relax. It's only the second game of the season. We've still got a long way to go. You saw us last season lose like the first two games of the season, and then how we turned it around from then. Have faith in the team. Have faith in the manager. Expect us to bounce back. Looking forward, we've got Nottingham Forest next Saturday, I believe, at home. 3 o'clock kickoff, and I expect us to win that game comfortably. I'd like to think. I'm expecting a better performance than we've shown in the last 2 games, and then we've got the Arsenal game after that as well. So I'm expecting a big performance from these guys the next 2 games. We usually always bounce back under Ten Hag, especially after a loss. Have faith in the boys. Get in the comments and let me know if you disagreed with anything. I might have missed out a couple things. Maybe I did. Fair play to Spurs. Played a different style of football to Conte, which I respect, because Conte's football was so bad. And Pape Mate Sarr had a good game. Bissouma, I'm hearing a lot of praise for him, but I felt like we allowed him to do that in the first half, so cool. But second half, he did play well. Spurs, Son was pretty quiet. Richarlison was pretty quiet. Kulusevski was pretty quiet. Maddison had a bit more of an impact in the second half, and he's a top footballer anyway. But yeah, look, get in the comments, anyone, any team, any fans, let me know what you thought of the game. Am I wrong in my analysis? Am I right? Like the video, it will help a lot. Subscribe as well. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers ASAP. This is Between the Lines podcast. See you on the next one. Peace out.
Between the lines.